On my 27th birthday, I thought I was being celebrated. Lobster tail, fine wine, a private table at White House. My mother wore pearls. My father gave his usual toast, but halfway through dessert, my grandfather looked at me and asked, calm as ever, "So, Isabel, how have you enjoyed your $3.8 million trust fund?" I remember the sound of silverware stopping. My mother dropped her fork. My throat went dry. What trust fund? That night, I learned something I cannot unlearn. This dinner was not a celebration. It was a setup, and my own parents were hiding a betrayal that would change everything. If you are still here, tell me where you are watching from. I want to know how far this story is traveling. Drop your city in the comments below. My name is Isabel Reed, and until that night, I thought I knew exactly who my family was. We were the kind of people who kept our voices low in restaurants, who sent holiday cards with professional photos, who never discussed money at the table but somehow always had enough. I grew up in Winnetka, 40 minutes north of Chicago. Big lawns, bigger houses, the kind of neighborhood where people named their boats. But by the time I turned 27, I was living in a third-floor walk-up in Logan Square, where the radiator clanged all night and the stairs creaked like they were giving up. I worked as a freelance interior designer. That sounds glamorous until you realize it means begging clients to pay invoices while surviving on instant noodles. My parents, Douglas and Catherine Reed, still lived in the same colonial I grew up in. 6 bedrooms, a kitchen bigger than my entire apartment, a garage that held 3 cars they rarely drove. We talked once a month, always surface level. How is work, Isabel? Are you dating anyone? You should really consider graduate school. They never asked if I needed help. I never asked for it. That was our unspoken agreement. The last time they had acknowledged my financial reality was at my college graduation 5 years earlier. I walked across that stage carrying $90,000 in student loans and a design degree I had earned through all-nighters and anxiety attacks. After the ceremony, my mother hugged me, my father shook my hand, and they handed me a wrapped box. "We are so proud of you," Mom said, her smile camera ready. Inside was a hardcover book, Personal Finance for the Modern Woman. I still have it, never opened it. That night, I sat on my dorm room floor and cried until my chest hurt. Not because of the book, because of what it represented. You are on your own, Isabel. Good luck. Fast forward 5 years. 2 weeks before my birthday, I lost my biggest client. A boutique hotel chain that represented 60% of my income decided to go in a different direction. Translation: they found someone cheaper. I had $800 in checking rent, due in 5 days, and a credit card already maxed from buying groceries. I called my mother that night. My hands shook as I dialed. "Hi, honey," she answered on the third ring. I could hear HD-Fee in the background. "Mom, I lost the hotel contract." "Oh, that is unfortunate. But you will bounce back. You always do." "I might not make rent this month." There was a pause. The TV volume lowered. "Well, maybe this is a good lesson about keeping a proper emergency fund. Your father and I always keep 6 months of expenses saved. My father and you also inherited your house. I thought but did not say. Anyway," she continued, "we made reservations for your birthday dinner. White House, downtown, 7:30 sharp. Wear something nice. Mom, that place is $400 a person." She laughed, light and dismissive. "Do not be dramatic, Isabel. It is your birthday. We will see you there." She hung up before I could respond. My roommate Lena found me staring at my phone like it had betrayed me too. "Let me guess," she said, sitting beside me on our salvaged couch. "They suggested you budget better?" "Emergency fund," I whispered. She wrapped an arm around me. "You know you do not have to go to that dinner. In my family, missing dinner is worse than bankruptcy." "Then make it count," she said. "Make it the last time they get to pretend everything is perfect while you drown." I did not understand what she meant then, but her words stayed with me through the next 2 weeks as rejection emails piled up, as my bank balance dropped to double digits, as I sold my grandmother's earrings to a pawn shop just to keep the lights on. The morning of my birthday, I stood in front of my closet, staring at my options. 3 dresses, all bought from consignment shops. I chose the black one. It was the only one without visible wear. I spent an hour trying to make my hair look like I had not cut it myself with kitchen scissors 6 months ago. The bus ride downtown took 50 minutes. I watched Chicago pass by through foggy windows, couples walking dogs, kids eating ice cream despite the October chill, normal people living normal lives. I wondered what that felt like. White House sat on North Michigan Avenue like a monument to excess. Valet parking, doormen in long coats, windows that gleamed gold in the evening light. I walked in feeling like an imposter in my own life. My parents were already seated. Mom in cream cashmere, Dad in his navy suit that cost more than my monthly rent. The table was set with more forks than any meal required. Happy birthday, darling. Mom air kissed me. Her perfume made my eyes water. Dad smiled without looking up from his phone. You look tired. Long month, I said, sitting down. They launched into their usual performance. Mom talked about their recent trip to Napa, the new Tesla they ordered, renovations to the pool house. Dad discussed his golf handicap and a merger at his firm. I sat there, invisible, counting water droplets on my glass. Then the door opened and everything changed. My grandfather walked in like he owned the place, which, knowing Richard Reed, he probably could have. 81 years old, silver-haired, wearing a suit that looked bulletproof. The entire restaurant seemed to hold its breath. Mom's wineglass froze halfway to her lips. Dad, what are you doing here? Celebrating my granddaughter, he said, voice carrying across the room. His eyes found mine. Happy birthday, Isabel. He hugged me, and for the first time all night I felt seen. He smelled like oak and old books, like safety. I did not know you were coming, I said. Would not miss it. He sat beside me, ordered whiskey neat, and watched my parents like a hawk watches mice. The conversation stayed surface level through appetizers. Grandpa asked about my work. I lied and said it was fine. He asked about my apartment. I lied and said it was comfortable. He nodded like he knew exactly what I was not saying. Then dessert arrived, chocolate souffle with a candle. The waiters sang. Other diners clapped politely. I made a wish I knew would not come true. That is when Grandpa set down his whiskey and changed everything. So Isabel, he said, voice casual as discussing weather, how have you enjoyed your $3.8 million trust fund? The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. I blinked. What? My mother's face went white. My father's jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. The trust fund, Grandpa repeated, slower this time. The one I established when you were born. Your parents were supposed to transfer it to you when you turned 25, 2 years ago. The restaurant noise faded to static. I looked at my parents. They were both staring at their plates like they contained escape routes. I do not have a trust fund, I said, voice small. Grandpa leaned back. Yes, you do. Or rather, you did. The past tense hit like cold water. Robert, my father started, voice strained. This is not the place. Then let us make it the place. Grandpa signaled the manager. Private room. Now. Within minutes, we were moved to a wood-paneled room away from watching eyes. The door clicked shut with the finality of a coffin lid. Grandpa's assistant Paula was already there with a tablet and folders. Beside her stood a man in a charcoal suit who looked like he ate corporations for breakfast. Marcus Hoffman, the man said. Your grandfather's attorney. This is a family dinner. Mom tried, voice shaking. Not a deposition. It is both, Grandpa said. He turned to Marcus. Show her. Marcus opened a folder and slid papers across the table to me. Miss Reed, this is the original trust documentation. Initial deposit of $1.2 million when you were born. With proper investment growth over 27 years, the current value should be approximately $3.8 million. My hands hovered over the papers. Should be. As of yesterday, Marcus continued, the actual balance is $43,000. The room tilted. I gripped the table edge. 43,000, I repeated, voice hollow. Where did it go? Grandpa's eyes never left my parents. That is what we are here to discuss. Dad loosened his tie. We were protecting it, managing it for her future. Managing? Grandpa's voice could have frozen fire. Is that what you call it? Paula read from her tablet, voice mechanical. Withdrawal June 2019, $450,000. Purpose, mortgage payoff. Withdrawal September 2020, $280,000. Purpose, vehicle purchases, 2 BMW X7S. Withdrawal March 2021, $390,000. Purpose, country club membership and associated fees. Each line felt like another wound. Withdrawal November 2021, Paula continued. $1.4 million. Purchase of Lake House property, Geneva Lake, Wisconsin. Deed in the names Douglas and Catherine Reed. I stared at my parents. You bought a lake house with my money. Mom's hands trembled around her clutch. We were going to tell you we were investing for your future. I laughed. It came out broken. I cannot afford groceries, and you bought a lake house? It is an asset, Dad said weakly. Real estate always appreciates. My rent does not care about your real estate portfolio. Grandpa raised a hand. Silence fell like a curtain. Paula, continue. Multiple withdrawals from 2022 to present. Jewelry purchases, $68,000. Vacation packages, $93,000. Failed business venture, Reed Consulting LLC, $540,000. Total depletion, $3.75 million. The numbers hung in the air like a funeral hymn. You gave me a finance book for graduation? I said, voice cracking. You gave me a book while you were stealing millions. We were not stealing, Mom protested, tears finally starting. We are your parents. We have rights. You have nothing, Grandpa interrupted. What you did was fraud. Breach of fiduciary duty. Criminal. The word criminal changed the air in the room. Marcus stepped forward. Based on our forensic accounting, your parents could face up to 15 years in federal prison. Mom gasped. Dad went pale. However, Marcus continued, the decision to press charges rests with Miss Reed. Everyone looked at me. I felt like I was floating outside my body, watching this scene from above. The girl who could not afford groceries sitting across from parents who stole her future and called it love. Why? I asked them. Just tell me why. They looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. Finally, Dad spoke. It started small. The market crashed in 2008. We almost lost everything. I borrowed just a little from your trust to keep us afloat. I swore I would pay it back. But you did not. No. His voice was barely audible. It became easier. You were doing fine on your own. You never asked for help. I asked for help 2 weeks ago. Silence. Mom reached across the table. Isabel, please. We made mistakes, but prison? We are your parents. I pulled my hand back. Parents do not let their children suffer while they spend their money on country clubs. Would you press charges if your own parents did this to you? I know it sounds impossible, but sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones who hurt you most. Grandpa turned to me. Isabel, whatever you decide, I support you. But know this, they were planning to leave. My stomach dropped. What? Paula pulled up another screen. 2 tickets to Costa Rica, purchased 4 days ago, one way. Departure date, November 1st. November 1st, 3 days after my birthday. You came to my birthday dinner, I said slowly, knowing you were about to run. Neither of them denied it. I stood. My legs felt like water, but I stayed upright. I want the lake house transferred to my name. I want every penny you can pay back returned. And I want you to know that you did not just steal money, you stole my faith and family. I walked to the door, then stopped. I will not press charges. Not because you deserve mercy, but because I refuse to let you take any more of my energy. You are already in a prison you built yourselves. The last thing I saw before leaving was my mother's face crumbling and my father staring at his hands like they belonged to a stranger. Grandpa found me outside, standing in the October wind. You did the right thing, he said quietly. It does not feel right. Justice rarely does. He handed me an envelope, keys to the lake house, and a check for what we have recovered so far, 700,000. The rest will come from forced asset sales. I held the envelope like it might disappear. Why did you wait until now to tell me? His face aged 10 years in that moment. I trusted them. My greatest failure was believing parents could not betray their own child. I found out 6 months ago when my accountant noticed discrepancies. I have been building the case since then. And you chose my birthday to reveal it? I chose the moment when they could not run, when they had to face you. We stood there as Chicago rushed past, taxis and strangers, and lives that had nothing to do with our family tragedy. What do I do now? I asked. You live, he said. Without apology, without guilt. You live. That night, Lena held me while I sobbed on our salvaged couch. Not pretty tears, but the ugly kind that come from somewhere deeper than sadness. They really stole from you? She kept asking, like saying it might make sense. Everything. They took everything and smiled while doing it. She held me tighter. But you got it back. Some of it. The money, at least. What about them? What about them? I pulled back, wiping my face. They made their choice. Now they get to live with it. The next morning, I drove to Geneva Lake, 2 hours north, watching the city fade into farmland, then forest, then suddenly there it was. The house my parents bought with my future. It was beautiful. I hated that it was beautiful. 3 stories of stone and glass, a private dock stretching into water so clear I could see the bottom. Inside, everything was staged like a magazine. White furniture, abstract art, a kitchen with appliances I did not know the names of. I walked through each room, touching things that were now mine, but felt like theft in reverse. In the master bedroom, I found receipts in a drawer. Furniture, 30,000. Art, 45,000. The chandelier in the foyer, 12,000. Each receipt was another reminder of what they valued more than their daughter's well-being. I sat on the dock until sunset, feet in water that was too cold for October, but perfect for the kind of clarity that comes with pain. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Please, Isabel, let us talk. I deleted it. Then another, from my father. You are making a mistake. Family is more important than money. I almost laughed. They were right about one thing. Family was more important than money, which is exactly why their betrayal cut deeper than poverty ever could. That night, I slept in the house they bought with my money, The bed was the most comfortable thing I had ever felt. I hated that too. Over the next month, everything moved fast. The forced sales began. Both BMWs liquidated, the country club membership revoked and refunded, their joint accounts frozen and transferred. Each transaction appeared in my account like an apology the universe was making. My parents moved from Winnetka to a two-bedroom apartment in Cicero. I knew because Grandpa told me, his voice neutral as reporting weather. They had both taken jobs, Mom at a dental office, Dad at a tax firm, the kinds of jobs they would have sneered at a year ago. I did not feel happy about their fall. I did not feel anything which scared me more. Meanwhile, my life transformed in ways that felt surreal. I paid off my student loans with a single transfer. The number disappearing from my account felt like removing shackles. I moved from the Logan Square walk-up to a two-bedroom in Lincoln Park. Nothing extravagant, but mine. Really mine. I kept working, but differently. Now I could choose clients instead of begging them. I could say no to bad contracts. I could build something real instead of just surviving. 3 months after the birthday dinner, I got another text, this time from a number I did not recognize. Isabel, this is Mom. New phone, please. Just coffee. 1 hour. I stared at it for an hour before responding. Okay. We met at a Starbucks in the Loop, neutral territory. She looked older, smaller, her designer clothes replaced with department store basics. The contrast was jarring. You look good, she said. I am good. I heard you kept the lake house. I did. She stirred her coffee for too long. We never meant for it to go this far. Yes, you did. You meant to take everything and disappear to Costa Rica. She flinched. That was your father's idea. And you packed your bags. Silence stretched between us like a wound that would not heal. Do you hate us? She asked finally. I thought about lying, making it easier, but I was done making things easier for them. I hate what you did. I hate that you looked at my struggle and felt nothing. I hate that you valued things more than your daughter, but hate takes energy, and you have taken enough from me. She started crying, not the pretty tears she used to perform at charity galas, but real ones that made her mascara run. We lost everything, she whispered. No, you lost everything you bought with money that was not yours. There is a difference. Your father will not even look at me anymore. He blames me. You blame him? Neither of you blame yourselves. That is the real problem. She reached for my hand. I let her take it. Her skin felt like paper. Is there any way back? She asked. Any way to be a family again? I squeezed her hand once, then let go. We were never a family. We were people playing roles. You played successful parents. I played grateful daughter. The money just revealed what was always true. I stood to leave. Isabel, she called after me. I did love you, in my way. I turned back. Your way was not enough. That was the last time I saw her. The lake house became my sanctuary. Not full-time. I kept my city apartment, but weekends I would drive up and sit on that dock and think about how strange life was. How the place meant to be my parents' escape became my peace. I had it redecorated, got rid of all the cold staging, and filled it with warmth. Real books, comfortable furniture, art from local artists instead of names meant to impress. It became what a home should be. A place where you can exhale. Lena visited often. We would cook elaborate meals in that ridiculous kitchen and laugh about how a year ago we were stealing packets of sugar from cafes to survive. You could have destroyed them, she said one night, wine making her philosophical, prison time, public humiliation, the whole thing. I could have. Why did you not? I thought about it, watching fire flicker in the fireplace that cost more than my old annual salary. Because revenge would have made me like them, using someone else's pain for my own satisfaction. I wanted justice, not vengeance. That is very mature of you. No, it is very tired of me. I am too exhausted to hate them properly. If you are still with me, hit subscribe, because stories like this need to be told. Real stories about how money can poison love, and how sometimes the only way to heal is to let go completely. A year has passed now. I run my own design firm with 3 employees. We work out of a loft in the West Loop with exposed brick and good light. My clients include 2 boutique hotels and a restaurant group. The kind of success I dreamed about when I was eating instant noodles. Grandpa and I have dinner every Sunday. He is teaching me about investments, real ones, not the kind that steal from children. He never mentions my parents unless I ask. When I do, he just says they are surviving, which feels like the right amount of information. I heard from a cousin that they filed for divorce, that Mom moved to Florida to live with her sister, that Dad took a transfer to Des Moines. They became scattered pieces of what was never whole to begin with. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder what would have happened if Grandpa had not revealed the truth. If they had made it to Costa Rica with my money, would I have ever known? Would I have spent my life believing I was not worth helping while they lived off my inheritance? The thought makes me grateful for that awful birthday dinner, for the explosion that destroyed everything false and left only truth. Last week, I was organizing paperwork and found that finance book they gave me for graduation, Personal Finance for the Modern Woman. I finally opened it. Inside the front cover, my mother had written, "May you always have enough. Love, Mom and Dad." I laughed until I cried. Then I cried until I had nothing left. May you always have enough. They had enough. They had more than enough. They had millions that belonged to their daughter, and they spent it on themselves while wishing me enough. I burned the book in the lake house fireplace, watched the pages curl and turn to ash. It felt like an exorcism. Now, when people ask about my family, I tell them the truth. My grandfather is my family. Lena is my family. The life I built from the ashes of betrayal is my family. Blood makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. And sometimes the best thing you can do is let go of the people who share your DNA but never shared your struggles. If someone in your life takes and takes while pretending to give, remember this story. Remember that you deserve more than crumbs from your own table. That sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from.